a sustainable water management initiative and approach.
Water security for all states these days is such an important thing, and more so for states like Orissa. So we completed Lower Indra project. Similarly, in Volangir, which is another of our very drought-prone districts, we completed Lower Suktel Dam. We are creating what we call in-stream storage structures, which are like large barrages on our rivers, so storing water within the river itself. Already we have 15,000 check dams.
How you being a Nari, you take this on a personal level and push forward for water conservation at a officer level?
Oh, for me, it is so important. I mean, so for involving women, in fact, we have a couple of Pani Panchayats which are all women Pani Panchayats.
Water isn't merely just a resource. Rather, it is the essence of life. But in order to become a Viksit Bharat, we need to effectively manage this resource. A very warm welcome to our Viksit Rajya, Viksit Bharat series, where we talk to leaders, bureaucrats, industry people, and uncover the facts how we can get a sustainable water management initiative and approach. In today's session, we have with us Development Commissioner cum Additional Chief Secretary, Miss Anu Garg ma'am. Thank you so much for joining in. We will have a conversation which will depict the story of Odisha's success towards effective water management resource. I would like to welcome ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. This edition is specifically dedicated to Odisha's success, and what better than ma'am and the state got recognized in National Water Awards, bagging the best state category. So I would just like to ask you that there is a spatial distribution of rainfall in the state. Now, what approach does the state have, approach does the department have in order to mitigate those situations and effectively manage the water resource?
Yeah, that's very correct. First of all, thank you for having me talk to everyone. Water security for all states these days is such an important thing, and more so for states like Orissa, because as you mentioned, we have a very varied spatial distribution. So there are parts of Orissa which get a lot of rainfall, then there are parts which do not get so much. There are times when we get a lot of rainfall, and because of climate change, this is becoming more and more frequent. But what we did then is that we are trying to ensure wherever we can create a water body, wherever we can generate more water, or through Jal Shakti Abhiyan, if we can, conserve more water, we are doing that. So, for example, in the last 4-5 years, our biggest achievement, I would say, was that we were able to complete a large number of projects. These projects, for various reasons, were pending for a long time. And I think this happens across the country because of forest problems, because of rehabilitation issues, because of people's resistance. So there are a lot of issues which sometimes are not in one's hands. But we really went all out to complete projects. And some of these large, major irrigation projects were in areas which were traditionally known for droughts. So we completed Lower Indra project, which is in Nuapada district, very close to Kalahandi. We completed Indravati's lift irrigation project, which was in Kalahandi. Similarly, in Volangir, which is another of our very drought-prone districts, we completed Lower Suktel Dam. And right now we are making its distribution network, which we are doing underground pipeline. As a result, whatever I-cut we were supposed to have achieved, had we done it through open canals, we were able to increase it. So this is how we have been trying. And so Ghatakeshwar Dam, Subarnarekha, many people may have heard of. This is a project which had been going on for a long time. We identified where were the missing links, and slowly every year we did 10,000 hectares done, we released that water. Next year, 17,000 hectares done, release that water. And by we were able to complete that 70,000 hectares where we were able to give, and we were able to start the second phase of the project. Likewise, in all others, for example, there was a coordination issue with NHAI. We quickly had a meeting with them, sat down with them, were willing to, compromise whatever they wanted from us. And with that approach, we were able to resolve lot of our coordination issues. We did a lot of out of court settlement relating to some court related issues. For rehabilitation also, we were liberal. Our policy is quite liberal, but more importantly, to ensure that we were able to give it promptly to them. That is when people shift, when they know that you're very sincere. So we started calling it responsible rehabilitation, which means with our hearts, we went to people saying that, yes, we feel bad your land is going, but we are here to help you. So even in the transition, we help them. So for example, temporary housing, if it is to be given, we sanctioned that. Whatever for some time, food, conveyance, anything is to be given to help them shift, we gave that. The houses, etc., which were constructed, we personally supervised that. So from our side, we did whatever we could to ensure that people moved. So their resistance came down a little, and then we were able to complete these projects.
As you mentioned about responsible rehabilitation, in a state like Odisha, it faces disproportionate number of weather calamities. How do you look at that from a point of view of water resource management, and how does effective rehabilitation help in that? Means getting on the citizens' side and then promoting the water conservation initiative. How does that go hand in hand?
You're so correct. We have a disproportionate burden of natural disasters, as everyone knows. And you won't believe this, but 2014 we had a cyclone, 2018 we had a cyclone, 19, 20, 21, 22, and then now 24 we had Cyclone Dana. So you can see the impact of climate change. We are just repeatedly getting cyclones. We have almost every second year we have floods and of course droughts. So for us, it is very, very important to ensure flood proofing, to ensure drought proofing, and to have disaster resilient infrastructure. So what we are doing for disaster resilient infrastructure, a couple of things. Number one, we are trying to conserve as much water as we can. So for which, we are completing all dams and infrastructure which was there. Number two, we are creating what we call in-stream storage structures, which are like large barrages on our rivers, so storing water within the river itself. Number three, on other smaller rivers, we are making check dams. So already we have 15,000 check dams. All of those are geo-referenced. So everywhere we are able to conserve water. Then under Jal Shakti Abhiyan, of course, we used self-help groups to make water harvesting structures, and they themselves then also maintain it. So the O&M is also done by these self-help groups. So that, of course, is being done. But there is another component which is the saline embankments. So when there is a flood or when there is a tidal surge, there is also saline ingress. To prevent that from affecting our fields, etc., we are consolidating our embankments. So for that, we have entered into a partnership with the National Institute of Ocean Technology. This is based out of Chennai. And using their expertise, what we are trying to do is that we are consolidating all the length and breadth of these saline embankments wherever we felt that it could negatively affect during a disaster. So these are some of the things. Plus, what we have is a World Bank project also, where we have taken some of our tanks, 538 tanks to be precise, and we are renovating those tanks and using them for climate resilient agriculture. So understanding that eventually one will have to be, prepared. So there is climate resilient agriculture. We are using deep bore wells with solar power, and we are doing an integrated approach, which means water not just for irrigation, but water for everything. So every drop of water we are using for irrigation, we are using for hydropower, we are using for tourism, we are using for fisheries. And so we are trying to make maximum use of the water there is.
Just as ma'am said, that it is an amalgamation of technology and community involvement as well. And sticking to the tagline of Catch the Rain, Nari Shakti se Jal Shakti, Ma'am, how you being a Nari, you take this on a personal level and push forward for water conservation at a officer level. How do you look at it?
Oh, for me, it is so, so important. I mean, so for involving women, in fact, we have a couple of Pani Panchayats which are all women Pani Panchayats. And then we also changed the Pani Panchayat Act. So, Pani Panchayat Act, we have mandated that the spouses of the farmers will also be members of the Pani Panchayat.
Okay.
So, which suddenly made it 50% women coming in. And so, there is a lot of participation. We are trying to involve our women in all possible activities. So, women in Orissa who are in various groups are doing a lot of this Jal Sanchay activities and all that. But apart from that, water quality testing, they are also doing other activities like electric bill meter reading. So, we are trying to give to them not typical stereotypes only. Like people associate only sewing or badi, papad, achar, those type of things with women groups. That also we are trying, it's okay. But along with that, we are also doing stereotype defying activities. So do electronic meter reading, this kind of water quality testing. And so they are now into all these kind of, they are running cafes. So we had old buildings. So we have given it to them. So they are running cafes there. So those type of activities too, we have given to them. I am very, very proud of the women of Orissa.
Then coming on to the point that water is essential as a resource for livelihood purposes. But then it forms the basic need for agricultural practices. How does the department promote water use efficiency as far as agriculture is concerned?
Right. See, water use efficiency is nowadays a very, very important thing given the scarcity of water that we are anticipating will happen. And I think across the country, people are now using systems to ensure water use efficiency. In our state, what we have done, number one, that instead of open canal, we are now focusing on underground pipeline. So there is less evaporation and focused flow of water. As a result, we are able to cover a larger area. Number two, almost 10,000 kilometers of underground pipelines we have done for irrigation purposes. Second is that everywhere you can't go for pipeline, you have those open canals. We are trying to line the canals so that we can prevent wastage of water and the velocity is much better. We have a special scheme for that. Number three is command area. So earlier there used to be field to field flow of water, and which was like a practice. But we are now trying to ensure that it goes through field channels, field drains. So that network of small nalas and nalis, that must be very robust. So we are trying to do as much of that as possible. And in upper reaches also, we have a system where we are picking up water, lifting the water through what we call the mega lift irrigation projects for almost 2,000 hectares of one area. That also we are doing. And I think everywhere it is the community also which is helping us. So as I mentioned earlier, the rotational irrigation itself is a very important means of water use efficiency.
Yeah. Right. Ma'am is the development commissioner as well, along with having the charge of additional chief secretary, water department resources. So what policy interventions can we expect in terms of development, connecting it with water management and moving and marching forward to Viksit 2036, Odisha, and later Viksit Bharat?
Yes. So Orissa also, like the rest of the country, has embarked on this vision for 2047. And within that, we have embedded our vision for 2036 when Orissa turns 100. And at that time, our vision is that we will be water secure. And to do that, I think as Development Commissioner, what has been very useful for me is that I am now able to get all the concerned departments together. So we are trying to use water as a means for, supposing for drinking water. So we are ensuring a sustainability of our water resources, whether it is for drinking water, whether it is for irrigation, whether it is for hydel power. We are using our large reservoirs for floating solar panels. So that is coming through industry. Industry, because we have a lot of industry coming in. We are second only to Maharashtra in terms of the industry that is flowing in. So how do we ensure that water is used wisely? So whether we can have slurry pipelines or, they have their water management plans. Many of them are using their reservoirs for floating solars. So those type of things, and groundwater, by God's grace, I mean, compared to many other states, we have been able to ensure that our groundwater, in select pockets, yes, we have saline water. In select pockets, we have problem. But compared to many other states, we have just 9 blocks which are semi-critical. Unlike many other states which have overexploited blocks and then critical blocks and many semi-critical blocks. And in those also we are working on doing rooftop rainwater harvesting and making these shafts. And we have a project with Green Climate Fund where we are taking up these wells so that the groundwater recharge also takes place. So for us, water is a very important resource. And we are using it very majorly for tourism also. So we have this Hirakud reservoir, which is a large reservoir, which we want to develop as also a tourism spot.
Ma'am, as you mentioned that water is being used for the tourism perspective as well. So how does the rejuvenation and renovation of traditional water bodies make an impact in effective water management and conservation?
Huge impact, because it is not, we cannot do too many new water bodies. It is very important for us to conserve these old water bodies, and the state is doing it very actively. In fact, under Amrut scheme of Government of India, large number of such tanks were renovated, beautified, and now many of them are being used as tourist spots also, and for generally a sustainable water source.
There is a lot to learn from Odisha, but we would like to come to the end of this discussion. And I would just end this discussion with one last question. Ma'am, what is your message to the citizens and every water stakeholder as far as how to go about water conservation?
I think everyone already knows, but it's just that we need to keep on saying it, that water is such a precious commodity. And all those who are working in this sector, you should feel blessed that you have been able to do your bit to conserve water and to generally ensure that it is managed well. But all those who are using it, please use it wisely. It is a very precious resource. All of you know it, but it's just that we need to keep reminding ourselves. Thank you.
With this, we come to the end of this interview. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining in. And as ma'am said, we need to shoulder this responsibility towards water conservation. Thank you so much.